Okay, we're going to try this a second time. Hopefully, you all transfer over or you're here and I'm just not seeing you. So I'll wait for a few minutes, drink some coffee, get all jazzed up. Let me get my chat going here. Okay. Oh, good. Some of you are transferring over. Could you leave a message if there is another stream? Um, I do have the document. It was wiped clean. Oh, surprise, surprise. Wait till you hear what I have to say, then you'll understand why there's a little bit of technological warfare going on here. So here we go. We'll just wait a few more minutes, let everybody repopulate or migrate over. And I think um, what I'll be able to do is get um, the document full size. I hope, I hope, and pray. So, um, okay. So let's see how many people are in here. We got 39. Let's give it a few more minutes because we had 120. So leave a note for the other people. Tell them to come on over to this one. I don't know how this works. This is the first time this has happened to me. So anyway, tell people to check their messages and that I am live. I actually have the document. It was blank. It was blank not only on the computer that I downloaded it to, but it was blank on my stick. And then I had to go up and re-download this document onto the stick. And then I'm just leaving the stick in here and I'm not going to play around with it. So anyway, we will get through it. Does anybody have any questions while we're waiting for a few other people to come in? Any general questions while we're waiting? Well, everyone, I guess I'll start off. I'm going to put a little peppermint, refresh my. I've been slamming coffee, and I mean, this is my second cup of coffee, and I haven't even drank it because this was too important to get out to you all. So, happy New Year, and I'm awakening to truth. It is going to be bigger in just a minute. This is just like a placeholder. Well, people, yes, I am going to comment on the California fires. I'm going to put it in context and I'm going to answer your questions. Remember that if something disappears, wink, 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 celestialreport2.com, it will be there and it will be free for everybody. So just in case, just saying, once I get rolling here. So, okay, let me try and get this document up. We're going to start with the fires, but, oh, wait a minute. Oh, because I had switched it down here. But so I guess we will get to the fires. It's going to be halfway through. I do put it in context. There is stuff happening all over the country. And what I'm going to do today is connect the dots. That's what we're going to do. I will be, the drones are involved. And so we will be talking about that. We're going to be talking especially about DARPA's involvement, but there's other actors too that we're going to talk about. That's why it may go down. We'll just see. Okay, let me try and make this share my screen and make it bigger. We'll see. I'm hoping that this is bigger. Um, okay. So let me try and make it smaller. Okay. Oh, really small. Come on. When I made it big, just for a minute, did you all see the big size? Because it made it really big for me, but I couldn't see your chats. So, um, anybody got a comment whether they could see it big or not? Okay, I just really don't know how to get this thing. I don't know how to get me out of here and just have the document. Let me just play around for a minute. Picture in picture. Let's see if we can make it bigger. That's minimize. Like, what do they people? They just don't really want people to see stuff, I don't think. And then I had it in my presentations. That's a guest. Let me see if I go to presentations, if I can just. Hmm. New studios, what can you do with them? Okay, I'm just going to go like this. This is about as big as I can go. I can. Oh, so Cruz and Kevin says it's not bigger. Tell you what, I will just talk about it. I will put it over at celestialreport2.com. I will upload it. Well, it's not an upload. It's not that easy. I have to actually create a document. So I will do that after this presentation. So that way you'll have it all. So let's get started. Enough on with the show, as they say. So whether you're on the East Coast, whether you're on the West Coast, whether you've got drones hanging around, natural disasters of all kinds, these drone operations, they are all connected. We have to remember, put this foremost in your mind, that on September 22nd, 2024, the UN made a declaration that said that they were the representatives for all the people on the planet, and they were going to begin implementation of the Pact for the Future and their depopulation agenda. Remember that this is, no matter what situation or weirdness you're experiencing, whether it's weather, frequency, drones, any other thing, it is an integrated weapons system. We have to remember that. We can't just look at the drones, we can't just look at the fires, because if we do, we can't put this whole hybrid event into context. First thing I want to mention is that if you've been following me for some time, there are the military, I got this from a military conference, new humans and old humans. The plan for the United Nations was to depopulate original design humans, and actually all life forms. It wasn't only humans. As the quantum entangled humans began to be born in 2020. The depopulation deadline they really wanted in 2024 or 2025, which is why this is going to be a year of war. It's going to be a year of war against all biological life, but reality as we know it. So let me see now how I get the next. Nope, that's not the way I did. Oh, great. I'm not having one of those. I'm not having one of those good days. Okay, come on, you little Dickens, you. Let's get you bigger. Um, is it? It's not. Why is it not? Okay. Okay. I think I've got it. Like I said, I'm going to put it up. So if you can't see it, I apologize. I'm just going to go down so you have my verbal and you can ask questions, but then I will be putting it on Celestial Report too. So the first thing that I noticed, and I did an article and a webinar on these skeletonized trees, like trees dying and being turned into technological devices. That was because of an event that happened to me in January of 2024. And so I did this whole thing, this whole webinar, and actually it's a PowerPoint. What you are watching literally is new physics, new chemistry, new mathematics, time and space, an altering of time and space. and other disciplines coming together to change our reality as we know it. And this is an actual document from this skeletonized trees. And what is this? It's an invisible invasion that began to weaken and obfuscate the original design. And you're going to see how that plays in just a second. If I can operate this crazy thing. No, that's not going to work. Okay. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay. Come on. Play nice. It's not going to play nice. I wish I could get my screen. Okay, maybe that will be better, I hope. Okay, so whether it's snow, ice, fog, or fire, this is up at celestialreport2.com under snow, ice, fog, and fire. This is a hybrid event. Okay. Oh, it's just not playing nice. I don't know why it's not playing nice. Well, I do know why it's not playing nice. I don't know what to do, you guys. Tell you what, we're going to stop with this part. I'm going to put it up on Celestial Report 2, and then my cursor keeps going to my other monitor. And I'm going to try and get out of this thing. And what I'm going to do, no, I don't want picture in picture. Can I just get me? No. How about me? No. Can't do this. Okay, I can't get rid of it. So what I'm going to do is try and make this smaller, and I'm just going to answer your questions. I could go on rambling and trying to fight this technology, but quite frankly, I've got a little warfare going on at my own house, so things are pretty crazy here at my house. So this is not surprising at all. So, do you have any questions about the wildfires? Yes, they're direct energy weapons. Yes, NASA's involved. Yes, DARPA's involved. Laser and acoustic weapons are involved. Obfuscation is involved. Yeah, it would be nice if I could just tell you, but it's a 85 page or 50-page document, and I don't have it all memorized because I just put this thing together this morning from bits and pieces that I from my articles that I have covered it. Oh, so you want me to just read it? Yeah, but it's not forwarding. That's the problem. I'm wondering, I know what I can do. Wait just a second. I will get my other computer and I will plug the stick into it and I will read it. So bear with me. I have to go run upstairs and grab my other computer. Okay. Okay, here we go. Got to get my blanket on. It's 0 degrees and it's snowing like crazy out there. Okay, I'm a little out of breath from climbing the stairs, but okay, here we go. So this hybrid event that I was just talking about is part of the natural cycle. It's 11,000 year cycle that the powers that be knew was going to happen. There's a book called the the Adam and Eve story. If you haven't read it, it was declassified from the CIA. You can go read it at the CIA, or there's other websites that have it. It talks about the cycle, the pole shift, and what was going to be happening upon the face of the earth. Now, the powers that be knew this was coming. That's why it was classified. And what they wanted to do is not have you prepared, but they wanted to seize control, money, assets, so that you did not survive, but they did. And they believe that they're going to survive by going into silicon bodies and then uploading their consciousness to it. So the rest of it is we will be getting into the fog. Just wait just a little bit. This is a 50-page document. And like I said, I will be putting it up there so you can have it. So this is part of the natural cycle, 11,000 year cycle. Basically, we are at the flexure point that started in 2020, where the most dangerous cataclysms in all of history have taken place. Every time the clock, 11,000 year clock, kind of like the third Hunger Games, where it was that clock, that was where it came from. And so right at that flexure point, terrible cataclysms come. So it's hard for us, unless we're following the science and technology, to ferret out what is the natural cycle and what is the manufactured cycle from the powers that be. And then you add in that we've got geoengineering, we've got science, we've got technology, and basically the powers that be, that this operation is injecting an array of particles. And at celestialreport2.com, there is an article from the United Nations about particles of destruction and how this is going to play a factor throughout, like everything from depopulation, health, our atmosphere, the climate change, everything. So it's really important to look at that article, Particles of Destruction. I got it straight from the UN horse's mouth, or the other end, if you might want to say. So I did that. Let's see. I did that article on April 30th. Just to give you a hint of what it's like. So all particles, it doesn't even matter if it's like a dust bunny under your bed or smog or whatever. From the date of the article, well, the earlier in 2024, all particles were considered infective, every single particle. So that they basically can call anything a pathogenic thing because all particles are considered infective. And of course, you all know, even if it's like from outer space, like a meteor, they say that Earth was seeded by an asteroid or something that came in. That's called panspermia. Ooh, I could have put that in this. Maybe I will try if I can remember. I do have that article from Department of Homeland Security talking about panspermia and how we were all seeded from some like a piece of something not from our planet. So also in that from 2024, you are no longer able to discuss in the open the size of the particle. So we can't say, is it the size of a nano? Is it the size of a virus? Is it the size of a bacteria? Is it the size of a parasite? Is it like a little dust bunny or whatever? You're not allowed to talk about the size of this. This is from the United Nations. Also in Free Society, according to this new, and there's like 50 pages of this, you can't discuss the origin of the particle. So you can't say, did it come from a human? Did it come from an animal? Did it come from bacteria, virus, fungus, synthetic biology, technology? Did it come from geoengineering or terraforming? Um, is it animated life form that had been extinct that now was given certain elements that came back to life? Or even alien, like extraterrestrial or interdimensional? We cannot ask those questions. You will not be allowed to, and neither will the media. So just right now, you're not going to be able to get the truth from them. Then we just jump down to June 20th of last year, 2024. DARPA's military grade quantum laser will use entangled photons to outshine conventional uh, uh, laser beams. And then I give you the link, and it goes: a prototype quantum photonic dimer laser uses entanglement to bind photons and deliver a powerful beam of concentrated light that can shine through adverse weather and things like thick smog or fog or smoke. And you're going to see why this put that under your hat, because you're going to be seeing that what that means in a few minutes. DARPA uses quantum entanglement to glue, and that's what they're doing with certain our biological inside of our body. But this is the photons, the light. They're actually gluing those light particles together to generate this highly concentrated laser beam. The lasers play a crucial role in military operations and are used in everything from satellite communications, targeting technologies, mapping and tracking systems, and LiDAR. Okay, next thing we've got up is cyber warfare. Peacock, I'm going to answer your question. Just hang on. We're getting there. I got to build the momentum here. We've got cyber warfare. Now, many of you probably saw that lady on, I think it was a lady on TikTok showing this hair growing out of the fog from dog feces. Quite frankly, if you live in the forest and it's wet conditions, foggy conditions, stuff is going to grow. It just does. And especially out of that, excrement is going to grow. So that really isn't surprising, but really we do have cyber warfare. And of course, you're familiar with Morgellons disease that Clifford Carnicom has been exploring. There's also what it is mycelium, and these mycelium can be natural, they can be parasitic, or they can be synthetic biology. So so you're scratching your head going, why? What does mycelium have to do with any of this other than the fog? So these mycorrhizal fungi, and yes, I use mycorrhizal fungi in my garden, but they're the natural mycorrhizal fungi, not synthetic bio, not synbio, but they are starting to have those play a crucial role in removing carbon from our atmosphere. And if you're familiar with the whole transhumanism, they hate carbon life forms, they hate anything carbon. So anything that they can and will exploit to get the carbon out of this planet, they will. And so they are making they're using mycorrhizal fungi. I do believe that it's probably synthetic. There is a article, and I do give you the link, Nature Unlocked, by Q. I think that's how you pronounce it, or Kew. It's KEW scientists. They are out of the UK to develop carbon using these mycorrhizal mycelium to develop a carbon storage below ground. So they're putting tanks below ground. Now they're going to use the very plants, the synbio plants, to suck out our atmosphere. And remember, I talked about the hair bots. In 2008, they put the hair bots in your shampoo. Those are synbio. And what was their purpose? What was their function? To take pollution out of the atmosphere. And because of that, many of you are sick and dying. And you didn't even know. Did they tell any of us in 2008 that they put these hair bots in and that you were going to be a living pollution filtration system of what the UN considers pollution? You know, you and I might differ on that. Now we're going to jump to the fog of war. And there's a lot of different elements to the fog of war, so hold on. The first thing I talk about is the mathematical representation of a CFD model for artificial fog spray investigation. This comes to us from mathematical modeling, and I give you the link so you can go straight to it. The purpose of the model is to perform various computations about artificial fog, which are then used to calibrate novel types of fog sensors. And we'll be getting into that, which are actually laser beams. Oh, imagine that. Now they're turning fog into laser beams because it's not really fog, it's artificial fog, and it is actually a sensor, and it can either self-assemble or deassemble, however, or concentrate to form laser beams. The work is related to improving European security by introducing, get this, systems for quick counteraction to terrorist attacks, industrial accidents, and natural disasters. Imagine that. These new fog sensors operate on the basis of electromagnetic echo effect. Electromagnetic echo effect to control certain decontamination processes. So is that decontamination getting rid of the carbon-based life forms that they hate? Or is that decontamination from CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear, and E as the wild card? So next we're going to jump to fog and ionospheric changes. So if you've got questions, I probably am not going to find them in all of your things. So maybe towards the end of my presentation, I'm on page 8 of 52. Put a question mark. If you have a question mark, put it in front. And that way I'll know that it's a question, but kind of do it towards the end otherwise. So write it down now. Fog and ionospheric changes. So fog and ionospheric changes are related through atmospheric electricity measurements. When fog forms, it removes small ions from the atmosphere as the fog and haze droplets form. This removal changes the electrical environment of the air, impacting the conductivity of our atmosphere. And then I'm going to jump down here. So DARPA is actively manipulating the ionosphere under many of their projects, including Project Ouija, which is a very low orbiting satellite. And also there are some new things that they're probably autonomous aircraft, much like the Valkyrie, or they could be drones. And they have actually been caught as DARPA was doing one of their exercises or their, I can't remember what they call it, introduction to their product. They caught this aircraft zapping from its nose, zapping the atmosphere. Somewhere in all my stuff I have it, but it was a video, so it's pretty interesting. I'll put it up on Celestial Report if I can find it again. It was buried in DARPA stuff. Okay, let's go on down. Trying to go as fast as I can because I know you're all interested in the LA fire. I had put it at the top, but when I had this little mess up, it changed it. So what can I say? So as the big snow and ice event settled on Northern America or the Northern Hemisphere, quite frankly, we have to think about what the Bible says, that the Antichrist brings down fire from heaven. And I've done a whole series of that at celestialreport2.com. shepherdsheart.com and shepherdsheart.life, my blog. So for the and it has graphene in it. The graphene has been so get this. So the graphene as of 2024 is considered a wonder and a miracle. Up until 2024, previously, graphene was called magical. So now we've got in 2024, graphene is no longer magical. It's a miracle and a wonder. And I give you the links to that so that you can go down that rabbit trail. And so, could the dispersion of reformatted explosive snow and ice fit the biblical description? They said, like the plague of fire and hail in the 10 plagues in the Bible, was this fire and ice, hail. And yes, it absolutely can with the technology we have today. Do this whole fire and ice and explosive. Believe me, I know about the whole explosive thing. Um, so then I'm not going to go into it because it's really interesting, but due to time constraints and I want to answer your questions, I put in like decades by decades or 20-year periods the patents on artificial snow. Very interesting. The one that stands out to me is that early on, one of the very first patents on artificial snow was a patent by the dairy industry for artificial snow. What's that all about? What do cows and milk have to do with artificial snow? If you can answer that, please write me at celeste@celestialreport.com because I don't have a clue. Okay, it was a cold and foggy night, so we really do need to discuss this fog and cold situation so that you can understand the environment landscape as there's many voices arising, but unfortunately it's kind of a silo. This one has a little bit of knowledge here and this one has a little bit of knowledge there. It's all good information, but you can't see the big picture that way. What I'm trying to do, that's why I'm bouncing all around, is to give you the big picture of the integrated weapon system that, quite frankly, is in play right now. They said that they had given the operational go, and it is an operational go. Now we're going to look for just a second. I don't know that I put anything on it, but I do have the link there for you. It's DARPA seeing through the fog, dust, and snow of war. So see, they're really into this. And this document, this program comes from 2014. So, oh, that's right. It was talking about degraded visibility. And whether you're talking about geoengineering or these fog events or Sahara dust storms or whatever, or just that pollution, like even you take an airplane flight and it's brown all around the whole earth, there is degraded visibility. And so basically so those obscurants can be natural, like in fog, or they can be made by the military. And what was DARPA's one of the things that they were making? And one, they wanted to obscure like top secret military facilities with clouds. Let's say if you were looking at Google Earth, they wanted to obscure like Antarctica so you can't really see what's going on down there. But then they were also wanting to develop, and I go into it a little bit here, a synthetic aviation or synthetic vision avionics backbone, or SV as in Victor AB technology. And basically, it is a platform that creates a high resolution 2D or 3D visualization of local environmental conditions. And basically, pilots can see slope, roughness, landing suitability, and many other different things. And it's also demonstrating a plug-and-play sensor control display. I do believe that that is involved in the LA fires, that they're testing and kicking the tires on that particular synthetic vision avionics backbone technology so that they can see where, through that dense smoke. And it's not the first wildfire situation. So they also have DARPA has another project called Seeing Through the Fog of War. DARPA seeks novel, tunable obscurants to give U.S. troops asymmetric advantage on the battlefield. So that means that they can create a fog out of nothing. And remember, it can be artificial, synthetic, robotic, and it's tunable. So they can actually tune the fog to certain frequencies. Now, that's pretty interesting because if they can tune fog to certain frequencies, why not smoke? Just asking. So as you were reeling, this program came as we were all reeling from COVID, and they were perfecting this obscurant program with synthetic technologies to see through the obscurance, giving them the dominant edge. And none of us wants to see America not have a dominant edge, except we don't want them to have the dominant edge when and if they reach a point where they consider the American people the enemy. And that's my concern. Okay, DARPA's, so that project, Seeing Through the Fog of War, was on October 12th, 2021. And I do give you the link for that. The name of the project, once it started going commercial, was called the Coded Visibility Program. Once again, it's called the Coded Visibility Program. Okay, let's go on down. Like I said, I've got more to this, so you can just read all about it. You can click the links. You can go as deep as you want. Now we're going to talk. I'm getting really close. Well, maybe not. I'm on page 11 out of 52. But half of this is about LA fires. But this, you'll understand the things that I'm talking about are in an integrated system with the LA fires. So now we're going to talk about foglets and the utility fog in military terms, what is known as the fog of war. Of course, the fog of war, or these foglets, you need to understand, is a camouflaged brain attack. It is attacking your neurological system and your cognition, just as the you-know-what did in 2020. So it was first conceived or coined in 1989. Now get this with this fog. These are the foglets, the utility fog. They can cause objects to appear and disappear on command. Yes. They can cause levitation, causing objects to hover and fly around. Now you're starting to see some drone connections, but there's more with that. We're going to talk about more on the drone later. There's manipulation in these foglets, causing forces that can squeeze, hit, or pull real objects. So if you're in one of these severe events that's unnatural and you know it, and all of a sudden your chest is squeezing, or you feel like your neck is squeezing, or you're feeling super drained, that may be why, is because it's being manipulated because it has forces in it. And teleportation. Nearly any combination of telepresence and virtual reality between the fog-filled locations. So basically, they can do telepresence. So let's say telepresence is you've got a fog in an area, and all of a sudden you see Bugs Bunny or Yogi Bear in the fog. So telepresence, that's kind of like a presence. It could be your God, whatever God you serve. You might see that. And virtual reality, it could this fog has the capability of thrusting you into the metaverse, whether you want to be in that metaverse or not. Whether you have drawn that line in the sand and said, I'm not going there, and this fog comes over you, and next thing you know, you're in this altered state of reality. Okay, what are some other things that this utility fog can do? It mechanically links to one another. So basically, we know that now is self assembly. It shares both information and energy. I'm wondering, does it share energy or does it harvest your energy? That's the things that I've seen in the DARPA projects is more about harvesting your energy, but I continue. It can act as a continuous substance. So, I don't know if any of you have seen those pictures of how moss in a forest communicates with the roots of trees and all that. And it actually, there's this symbiotic relationship between the moss and the trees, just like with the mycorrhizal fungus. Um, and then it gets bigger. So these fog and foglets can just become this continuous, like it can start here and it just rolls in maybe inland or wherever. So it can grow, let's say. Kind of sounds like hydrogel to me. And in fact, it does have some hydrogel in it and or quantum dot. But we'll see about that later. It also has mechanical and optical properties that vary over a wide range. The utility fog can be used to simulate any environment. So whether it's hot or cold or whatever, and I do believe that that's why we're seeing all these variants, and you may be having fires one place and fog another place and these terrible cold events in other places. They're kicking the tires to simulate any environment. We've already talked about that. So the common uses of the utility fog include creating facsimiles or a synthetic of physical items and environments, easier locomotion in microgravity environment. So basically, it can create a synthetic or metaverse environment. It serves as a transparent interface between cyberspace and physical reality. So, I mean, that's where it would connect with your wireless body network, the fog. So, and so you and the environment are becoming one. I mean, we kind of are, but now we're doing it not the way it was in the original design, but like we're doing in a technological way. It can be used in the zero gravity environment to prevent objects and users from drifting and tumbling. And there is an interesting article on foglets on that sounds a lot like graphene and synthetic biology to me, and I give you the link in the thing. Now moving on to the Arctic test. Just in case you didn't catch my well, if you're a member of my community, you've already heard this. So, but I'm not going to go into deep about it. With this Arctic blast, with this big bubble of cold over the northern hemisphere, you best be thinking a globalist exercise. So it's not only the fires, it's not only the fog. We have to be concerned about this cold event. And why do I say that? Because we've all been seeded with anti-freeze proteins, or AFPs, and ice structuring proteins known as ISPs, which are a class of polypeptides. I do believe that would be a synthetic polypeptide, not a natural original design peptide. So these tests are going to show what was the goal of seeding you with antifreeze and ice structuring proteins. It was to fulfill the United Nations. Remember, we're going back to the United Nations. And they said that you can take nothing from nature. You're not supposed to breathe the air. You're not supposed to drink the water. You're not supposed to um, eat the food. And so this is part of that agenda. So what now, how are they going to test it? They are going to see if these synthetic biology proteins and polypeptides will keep you from freezing to death without using planetary sources. So they pull the plug on your electricity, they stop your water, you can't get to the store, there's no food, and you've been seeded with these things that say you don't require that anymore. This is a test to see where in their directed evolution, experimental evolution project they are at. So you've got to look at it that way. And I provide you, this isn't Celeste's opinion. I provide you all the documentation on it. Now, how do you get these antifreeze proteins out of your body? So realize that there are some plants and animals you are going to get some natural antifreeze proteins in your body. That would be something like a cold water fish or a plant that grows in like the Arctic or some really cold where there's these temperature extremes and all of that. Now those would be okay. They're not going to be changing your body because people have eaten them for however long people have been here. What I'm talking about are the artificial or synthetic ones. And here are some ideas. Hydration, drink plenty of water to flush out the substances that may have entered your system. Water aids as a natural detoxification process in the body. And I think many of us don't realize, and many of us, like I'm sitting here with my tankard of coffee here, not good, bad, Celeste. I need to drink more water. You want to have, sorry, you want to have a healthy diet. You want to eat a diet balanced, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, to help your body detoxify naturally. Foods high in antioxidants can help neutralize any potential harmful effects. What are some of those? Anything that like has vitamin E in it, anything orange has tons of vitamin A in it. So there's a lot of antioxidants, turmeric. So whatever is your favorite, you can indulge and have as much as you want because quite frankly, we live in a toxic environment right now. Avoid further exposure to it. Like if you know it's a synthetic antifreeze protein or ice restructuring polypeptide, then don't consume it. Like ice cream actually has antifreeze proteins in it. I'm sorry to tell you, unless you make your ice cream yourself, it has antifreeze proteins in it. So there you go. Um, Now, if in the fog, um, it may have quantum dot, and quantum dot acts different than hydrogel. Even if you get these and they have hydrogel in it, you have a more of a chance to detox with hydrogel, depending on how long it's in your body, than with quantum dot. Quantum dot goes straight to this down to your cellular level into the cell and just is like a wrecking ball. And then there's not much that once it's been destroyed, you can get it back. Um, Maybe there's some things down the road, but I'm not sure. Now, just now, people are going to get mad at me, but I'll just tell you some people like to know what I do, and other people don't like to do like it. This is just not a promo, it's just telling you what I do. So, most of you know I was really, um, I'm really careful about what I put in my body, but I do use Touchstone Pure Body Extra. Um, for helping me detox. I'm not on it all the time. Some people do that. To me, I find periodic is better than all the time, but then I'm very careful about my environment and what I put in my body. So I'm just telling you about that. Also, consult your healthcare professional. There are tests to find out if you're like worried. Personally, I wouldn't do it because, then they have information about what you're eating and not eating. And what if you're eating like a gallon of ice cream and it has all these antifreeze proteins in it? Of course it's going to come back high. So you're basically giving them your medical insurance and your life insurance and your doctor all this information about you. So I'm just telling you, I wouldn't do it, but there are tests to find out if you have these insignificant numbers that um, you want to know so you can change either your environment or do some neutralization or whatever. Another thing I want to touch on is that I've been talking about on X, although I'm not going to be on X very much longer because, quite frankly, since I talk and been talking about the drones and I've been talking about this, I their algorithm doesn't like me. They want me to they want me to embrace other ideologies, embrace other people's, like the other side of the fence. I'm too busy. This is war, for Pete's sakes. I don't have time to sit there and look at whatever they want me to. So I'm not in their algorithm anymore. So I'm just like going to say, so anyway, frequency does interact with these antifreeze proteins. So you need to know that. Whether you're getting it from the snow event, the ice event, or your ice cream or whatever else, there are it does interact adversely with your body. So you'll be able to go and deep dive on that if you want. Just a sec. I just want you to review that I wrote two articles in 2021. Aerogel, which is hydrogel, that looks like the smoke from the abyss, contain aerogel is aerosolized hydrogel. Although these days we've got quantum dot in it too. So I gave both. The other one is The Secret of Aerogel Smoke from Hell, also in 2021. It's a totally different article. So check those both out. Those are both on talk about the hydrogel, the graphene that was aerosolized. I also just very quickly, as we're wrapping up the cold weather stuff, want to just mention to you that cold, dry weather, like the big dome of cold air that was over the Western Hemisphere, does increase the length, duration, and severity of pathogen events. Now, if you believe in virus theory, you could say it's influenza, or it could just be pneumonia or whatever pathogen. It does kind of make it worse. And I think the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to just jump down however I have to do it, is don't forget about the tardigrades. That, remember a couple years ago, 2021, I think I told you that your DNA was mixed with tardigrades, and how I found that was from Homeland Security. And what was that? That was a webinar on putting people in biostasis. What is biostasis? Biostasis is putting you asleep, kind of, conk you out, waiting for depopulation. So I give you that information. And through the researchers were able, I can't remember what the trigger was, they were actually able to get the tardigrade to curl up in a fetal position. And wait, is that what they're going to make us do? Curl up in a fetal position until they zap us? I'm not sure. Okay, then there was in 2013 a unified military intelligence picture helping to dispel the fog of war. That was from 2013. And I think I better mention it because it will play a part in the LA fires. defense intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance is involved. Um, meaningful to integrate disparate stovepipe source information. So basically, people like me are called a silo or a stovepipe, and they are going to go to war against me. So they call it the tyranny of the stovepipes. So that's what DARPA has for us, and they're going to use their data fusion centers for that. So I give you that information. The fog of war, just a brief mention, I'm just going to mention it, does include the cognitive and neurological war, but I'm going to have to cover that another time. Okay, now we hit the wildfires. So there is a 1970, June 1970, forest fires as a military weapon. Now, there was a document before this one, so it's been on the books for at least 80 years that they were going to burn out people using military forest fires in a military op. But this is a global military op. So don't blame your local serviceman for this. This is a global thing. And so I show you the picture of, it was a secret document for a long time. So it's been on the books a long time. We're going to burn the people out. Then next we're going to talk about, so these are some of the programs that I've covered at shepherdsheart.life. They're not yet transferred over to celestialreport2.com. Airspace total awareness for rapid tactical execution, called Astarte. They're looking at us from above. That program would be probably involved in this fire situation. Now I want to talk about the lasers for a few minutes. So if you're taking notes or whatever, you're probably going to want to. I covered acoustical direct energy weapons at shepherdsheart.life in my blog, and also acoustic and optical. So that's lasers. So there's the let's see, I got to get my glasses on. There's the LLCD, which is the Lunar Laser Communication Demonstration. Now, this is always under the auspices of communication. Lasers are always communicating. Even if they're zapping you, they're communicating. And then there's the LCRD, which is the Laser Communication Relay Demonstration. Then there's the DSOC, which is the Deep Spaced Orbital Optical Communications. And then there was T-Bird. Over at shepherdsheart.life, I give you the actual, and maybe even today we'll talk about the timeline. The Illuma T, which is the integrated LCRD LEO user modern and amplifier terminal. And then lastly, there's the Orion Artemis 2 is a optical communication center, but there's also Psyche. So these are all DARPA things. Ooh, I can't get that. I can't get it over there. I have a video I was going to show, but I don't think I can do that because I'm not connected here. So then I show you pictures. So it was very interesting when you're talking about lasers and the LA fires. I'm seeing some crazy stuff. I saw this car that was obviously had rear-ended somebody. There was no fire, no charred, no nothing. The car wasn't charred, and it really truly looked like smashed into somebody else, and then they towed the other car away. And then they said that was a direct energy weapon. A direct energy weapon would probably come down from the top, from above. I've had one that hit from the side that both hit me and Mississippi. That was a optical. It was a actual laser. But typically no. So I want to just kind of clear the air on this. when I was doing what I was just talking about, all these programs that DARPA has with experimenting with their laser weaponry, um, you have to have a base station. So I was doing this on acoustic direct energy weapons, and maybe I had switched to optical, I don't know. And so we were in this, no, we were, I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun. So I saw an image, and I've got the picture in here, but that's an interesting story in itself. Um, where it's from the space station. It went to another satellite, and then it went down to Maui. I also know that there is a base station, and I talk about that in this document that I will put up on at celestialreport2.com. And it says that you need a base station. So you've got something up in the sky, whether it's a drone, a very low orbiting satellite, it could be the space station, is shooting laser down. But what it has to do is have this base station. What's the purpose of the base station? The base station is just like in science fiction movies, it's a lock on. It locks on the base station, the laser locks on, and then it doesn't matter what's in the way. It could be clouds, it could be frequency, it could be fog, it could be other types of interference. But as long as these two are locked on, that laser is going to hit where it's supposed to hit. If it doesn't have that base station, then let's say you're shooting your laser from the very low orbiting satellite, and there's no base station, and there's interference, and there's clouds, it could hit an airplane or whatever. And they really don't want that liability. So they want a base station. So the two places that were hit, Paradise, so there was a base station, not exactly a Paradise, but I think they were kicking the tires on that once, but it was in the vicinity. And then there was one in Maui, near Lahaina. And that's why I believe those two were the next step in their experiments and their beta testing of these types of laser systems. What I think we've got going with the LA fires now is that they may have these. Oh, I wish I could show you the. Let's see. Maybe I will try. I will try to do. Give me a minute and let me see if I can bring a satellite base station up for you. Let's see. Base station for DARPA laser satellites. Let's see. Not sure I'll get it, but I want the base station, guys. This one might have a picture, but I don't know. It's not a DARPA. No. Okay, you're just going to have to wait for it. So what I'm thinking is that they have, since that time, those original Paradise and Lahaina, that they've developed portable base stations. A lot of times they test those types of portable base stations and types of different technologies over in the Middle East. So they may have been successful, and now is the time to do it in Southern California. Okay. Hold on. Now did it disappear again? No. Okay. So I do have pictures of the base stations in the document so that you'll be able to see it. The interesting thing that when I first saw this, and this was on the DARPA website, and I did report on it a couple of years ago, I did a webinar on it, I wrote articles on it since then. So it showed space station laser going down to Maui. Since then, now they've cut off, and they don't say Maui there anymore. So that I found that interesting. You can see from the satellite where it is if you know your geography, but they have taken that image down after certain people reported on it. And this was the Illuma, ILLUMAT, from the space station to Maui. So I do have a picture, but it doesn't say the Maui anymore. You'll have to figure that out yourself. They also have the DARPA Artemis. I won't go into all of that because there's time. I want to give you time to ask questions. So start thinking of your questions and put your question mark in front of the question. So you're all wondering about the timeline of how did these things develop. So the near Earth relay technologies, which are the laser communications relay demonstration or LCRD optical relay, was in 2021. So they were beta testing them between 2021 and 2023. They integrated LCRD using a very low orbiting user modem with amplifier terminal, or the Illuma T user relay, was 2023. In 2022, there was the Near Earth Direct to Earth, the DTE technologies, which is the terabyte infrared delivery T-Bird, and that was 2022. That one I covered along in my Whack-A-Brain series. And then in 2022, there was the Deep Space DTE technology, which is a Psyche. And I think I discussed that in my Soul Catcher series. Let's see. So basically, the operational timeline where these went operational were between 2021 and 2023. Now they're always perfecting and kicking the tires and making their product better. So that would continue. So are the LA fires, Paradise and Lahaina fires natural or due? I would definitely say that they are direct energy weapons. And at first, I was very cautious. We have a perfect storm. We have these technologies that we just talked about. We have metallic particles in the air that we're not allowed to discuss, according to the UN. And we also have the drought situation. Plus, when I lived in Southern California, it was not very populated. It was sparsely populated. I lived on the beach in San Diego, and it was sparsely populated. Now it's a sea of people. So things go, fire travels really fast. Santa Ana's have always been a real threat. I mean, down there, even when I lived down there, this temperature would skyrocket, the winds would go crazy. So, but now we have different environmental factors like all these metallic particles in the air. We've got direct energy weapons. We've got synthetic. We don't build our house out of fireproof materials anymore. Most of the time, they're all synthetic and highly explosive, quite frankly. Some of the glues and polymers and stuff that are in our houses. So we have a totally different situation than, let's say, in the 1960s that we have down there. So let's see. But be careful when you hear these wild reports. Now you're going to know some of the technologies that are out there. There's things that can be, and just like that car that looked like, I mean, there is no way that car that I saw was direct energy weapon. There is absolutely no way. So let's see. I'm going down. I give you a whole lot of links for my direct energy weapons series and articles so that you can look at that at your leisure. Oh, don't forget the metamaterials. That's really important. Oh, I wish I could show you some of these pictures. Make sure when you look at this document to look, it's toward the bottom. It's on page 32 of 52. It's the ACS Applied Nanomaterials. Look at that. That's what started my whole direct energy weapon thing series years ago. Okay, another thing, big question. So is the purpose of the direct energy weapons to start fires to make smart cities? Now I got to your smart cities, everybody. So I hope you're paying attention. No, it is not for the smart cities. I hate to burst your bubble. According to the UN, when they took over on September 22nd, 2024, it's depopulation. What they are doing is rewilding. This is a rewilding event for California. They're also rewilding in the plains here in my area. They have already rewilded much of the mountainous area in the Pacific Northwest and Rocky Mountains. So this is not going to be turned over because there are not going to be people. So, at first I thought, oh, are they going to rezone it, make tiny houses and that type of thing? They don't want people anymore. The purpose is no, there won't be jobs. There won't be a place to live. The zoning is going to be more environmentally friendly. The UN mandate is to get rid of carbon-based life forces or life. And so it's a scramble for depopulation at this point. And so they're just basically through a number of different implements and instruments to get you out of the way. Just imagine now a rich person living on the beach in Southern California or a movie star or a politician isn't going to want to change his lifestyle and give up their big mansion and their big sprawl, are they? No. The only way to get them out is to burn them out, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but that is the honest to God truth. So what we've got going is a UN global depopulation, and it's not going to just stop in the LA basin. I'm shuddering because the East Coast has had their disaster, the West Coast has had their disaster. I'm sitting in the middle of the country going, oh my God, what are they going to hit us with? But I'm not fearful because I've got the Lord, and I'm not going to let him, the enemy, rob me of my joy and my peace. But it is concerning. What are they going to hit in this area? They are rewilding, that for sure. But okay, so I do give you the map. That is a really old wildlands map. Oh, something that I learned this morning was I was trying to find a more more current, because I use this same map. I did testimony for the government on the Wildlands Project, and I used that map, and that was like the end of the 1990s, early 2000s. So I wanted something more current. What they have done is the equivalent, what the UN has done is the equivalent of a public private partnership in the United States. So, what the UN did is they initiated the Convention on Biological Diversity, and then they farmed it out to this biological diversity to various NGOs that were in their pocket to make the changes. So, you can't go to their website and see the UN direct connection. You have to go through all these NGOs, and the maps that they had are not accurate. The one that this old wildlands map that's been around forever, you look down there in Southern California and you'll see they say on that map it's a no human zone, no humans. So you need to really relook at that map, and I'll be keeping my eye open, and I'll continue to search. I just started searching today. So I'll look for a more current map. But since they farmed it out to NGOs, that's really to obfuscate we're using that word again, obfuscate, so that people can't see the direct connection, or in other words, plausible deniability. So now, for those of you who have the question mark, I am going to go up the list. And if you have a question mark in front, I'm going to answer your questions to the best of my ability. Okay, so let's see. Um, oh boy, they just keep coming, and I'm not that fast. Okay, SB, who do they intend to be in the 15-minute cities? The elite. It will be 15-minute cities. It's going to look a lot like Hunger Games. So if you haven't watched that trilogy, I would look at it, because that's pretty much what the template looks like. Okay, I'm looking for other question marks. Question marks at the beginning of. Okay, so why do those things about it? It says, so why do this to those? I'm sorry, if you things about it, if you can re-answer or re-type your question with a question mark, I maybe clarify a bit for me. Okay. Which states are next? I think the next is the Midwest. One day soon. I think it's the Midwest, but I could be wrong on that. This is a global operational go. I told people about that in, I think it was 21 or 22. I was at a military conference, and they said they had given the operational go to hit every man, woman, and child on planet Earth. So if that answers your question, let me go up. Let's see. Okay, this is from Daniel. Do you think these catastrophes will happen more and consecutively to put fear into the people? What's your opinion on a major event happening that will help sway people to support the global elites? At this point, I don't think they care. Yes, they do want to put people in fear, but they basically on September 22nd said, we're taking over. This is what you will do. You will kiss the ring, or they didn't give you the alternative, but it's if you want any protections, if you want to live in society, if you want a job, if you want a house, you are going to have to kiss the global ring. And I'm not going to do it, but other people may have a different standard. Okay, let's see. I'm going up here. What does Susan Dorr says, what does rewilding mean? So that's basically where they take little patches, like think of a patchwork quilt, and they take little patches of land and they turn it back over to the environment through many different instruments of environmental justice and regulation. And then there's no humans. Like, for instance, in Washington State, I heard that one of my favorite places to hike and climb was going to be sold no, it was going to be rewilded. And so I called my congressman and I said, and I talked to the aide. I said, I'm opposed to this. And they said, well, you have to be for it. And I said, why is that? Because otherwise it's going to be sold to a foreign country. Our national treasures were going to be sold to a foreign country. In the end, it ended up being rewilded. It's huge. I mean, you're talking the Cascade Mountains, beautiful places that I used to hike and climb and fish and camp and all those things. And now only 8 people can be, you have to register to go in, and there can only be 8 heartbeats. And if you have a dog with you, which probably now they don't even allow dogs, but at that time they did allow dogs, that heartbeat included a dog or an animal. Let's say you had a horse or a pack mule or whatever. So that's That's what rewilding is, turning it back over to nature, no humans. Eventually, so in the interim period, they allow a few humans, like in this huge tract. I couldn't even tell you how big. Um, you can look it up. It's Sky something in Washington State with the Cascades. But then it goes until there's no humans at all. Okay, let's see. I think that okay. I'm going to go back to the bottom, see if there's any. Um, so Peacock Parlor is asking who is doing this. The United Nations. So that's who's doing it. Pandora Chaser. Would you agree that the Paris Olympic symbolism featured natural disasters heavily? Sequana goddess, the scene road, death, white horse. Yeah, definitely. All of those things, whether it was that tunnel, the Gothard Tunnel for CERN, all of these have really dark symbolism. And um, also, I would revisit because it's been a while, and now we're in this disaster cataclysm era. I would revisit the murals at the Denver airport, and also, if you didn't know about it, the Bank of America. I think it's in California. I think has a cataclysmic mural set that is very much like the Denver one. So I think it would behoove us all to go look at those. And I'm really awaiting the Army PSYOPs that comes out in May for their recruitment video to see what they have. I'll bet you it'll have some pretty interesting stuff. It usually does. So let's see. Come on, little cursor, go up. Mia, there's no place in the globe. This is a global event. It is not just America. You can't run to another country and be safe. It's not going to happen. The only place I believe is Jesus Christ. That's I'm under the shelter of his wings. Psalm 91. Commit it to heart. Yeah, Kelly Powell, I agree. I'm very concerned about the next 4 years and the technology that's going to enter. That's the technology that's ushering us into a technological tyranny. Let's see. I just saw a question. Okay, Jess. I just saw a question and then it. Okay, we're Jessica. It keeps popping and then I can't see because stuff is coming in so fast. Where are you, Jessica? I wanted to answer your question. And of course, I get some update. I don't want an update right now. Thank you very much. Did you see my question about Valkyrie? Does the aircraft carry curses? Yes, it does. It carries Geomancer and Spellbook. And if you go to Shepherd's Heart Life, and you look up Valkyrie, it's not spelled, it's Valkyrie, or you can look up Geomancer, Geomancer, and Spellbook. You'll actually, in the Spellbook one, in one of them, I actually have the thing and you can watch it operating, doing the curses. And the first time that I knew that it had been deployed was in 2019 to the Australian wildfires. And it's also interesting because the name Valkyrie is chooser of the slain. And it was the original name of remdesivir. So, and it does have graphene with magical properties, and it can be go invisible, it cannot go invisible a lot with some of the technology that we've talked about today, um, with the foglets. What are the UN biozones for? So basically, Craig Silver, so things are kind of chopped up. So, we've got the United States. The I can give you an example. So Montana, when there started to be concerned about after the big FMD event in the UK, they started, the in Montana was big cattle country back in those days, maybe 2006 or so. And and what so there were two sides of the fence. There were the independent um, ranchers, and then there was the corporate. And so what they decided to do was split the sovereignty of Montana. And the independents were just so concerned that they went to Montana, tried to talk them out of it, but they said no, because in that way, if they split economically and biologically Montana in half, then um, let's say one half of Montana got infected with some pathogen, then the other half of Montana would still um, be able to trade and sell and that type of thing. But it was a downfall for Montana, and now it has I mean, there's some people in ranching, but it is not like it was. It was the downfall, and it really impacted the integrity of the sovereignty of Montana. Then you started getting all sorts of, I won't say, but let's say it just changed the character of Montana. So that's why they do these biozones. Let's see. Ariel, I have not talked about the organized gang stalking program connected to the One World Order, except in my Soul Catcher. I did talk about it. I do talk about direct energy weapons hitting you, and I give you all the details. So the two places I've done it is in Soul Catcher, which was both a webinar and articles, multiple series, and also in Havana Syndrome. So either one of those you can look up. I have videos on Rumble, and they've taken most of my stuff down on YouTube. So we are trying to repopulate that and reconstruct it, but that all takes time. And meanwhile, the war goes on. I don't believe that Yellowstone is going to blow. That's just my opinion. More events to come, absolutely. If you have not watched so I started with the pandemic timeline last year. Then I went to the Lair of the Dragon. Then I went to the Color of Evil, which is a 2-part. And then I did the UN Obliterates All Boundaries, which is what we're talking about today. I would highly recommend that you watch those webinars, that you look at the material that I've put together. I really worked hard on that. Okay, Michelle Gutierrez, when will they put the full force on putting the mark on people? I think that they've already developed that technology. I do believe that that is part of the, what's it called? It's in the PAC Summit for the Future. It's digital. It's the digital compact. I believe that it's in there. The technology, I believe, is very interesting. That they've had dyes for the different pathogens and the different other modalities, and they glow different color, or they have different colors that can be seen with imaging. Well, just recently, within the last couple of months, I saw a technology where if you have certain coverage, let's say coverage, that it will, depending on what that coverage is, you would, um, it would glow, it would glow on your hand or your forehead a different color or particular color. It would be a visible. Now, why the right hand? Why the forehead? Your right hand is the clean hand. In ancient times, this was what you would eat with, or you would extend your hand to shake somebody's hand. Your left hand was for dirty jobs, excrement, whatever that was a dirty job. And your forehead, so, and it's also of action, you're doing something. And I believe it's what we're doing with our faith. Your head is what you're thinking. Are you thinking pure thoughts, or what are you doing with your thought process? Have you drank the Kool-Aid, or have you not drank the Kool-Aid? And so it would start glowing if you were not compliant to either one of these. So one is your hand is representative of action, your head is representative of the thoughts, and they want both of those covered. Now, why do I say what I say? Because way back, so the precursor of the mark of the beast was issued from the United Nations to all signatory countries down to the states on Halloween 2005. And I have been fighting against it ever since. And there was something very interesting. Where did they want to put the mark of identification? It was electronic mark. Where did they want that? It was an alphanumeric mark with an asset code for the country, and they wanted to put it in clean animals, and they wanted to put it in the fat tail. So what is significant about the fat tail? So if you read the Bible, the fat tail is holy unto the Lord. And so is your right hand and your forehead are holy unto the Lord. So if you take the mark, then that holy unto the Lord has been desecrated. It's much like profaning the temple. So because it's profaning your temple. So that's about it. That's what I'll say for now. I'll go back down and see if there's any other. This is lipstick and life. That's kind of the ancient. I'm talking about in the old. This is how things developed, and we have to look at ancient history, like the gods and the goddesses and all this type of stuff, as well as the technology to understand some of these things. Well, U.S. trading champ, totally disagree with you because I am here, not, I'm here. There's, and if you don't like what I have to present, you don't have to follow me. You don't have to be here. It's a free country and you can go about your way. I don't really care. Let's see. Let's see, how long have I been on here? Okay. I should probably go in a few minutes. They get mad if I get uh too lengthy on my Ooh, I didn't know that, Kelly, that the Olympics was supposed to be in Los Angeles. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't think it's going to be there in 2 years. I don't think it's going to be there in 2 years. It's not a good environment for the Olympics, quite frankly, unless they're going to do some other type of Olympics. Who knows? Peacock Parlor. Part of the goal, yes, is to suck out your life force. And if you type that in over at Shepherd's Heart .life in my blog, you'll get all sorts of articles that I've written about that. Okay, everyone, because now I'm going to have to, because you didn't get to see this document that I put up, I am going to spend the rest of my afternoon putting up the document so that you can deep dive on your own, and you'll have it. And so it will be over at celestialreport2.com. It's going to take me a while. It might take me an hour or two to get it over there because it's not the easiest process to do it. I just can't upload it. Yeah, and especially these days, I wouldn't want to. Had a near scare yesterday, so I'm actually thankful and grateful that it is this way. So look forward to the article in a couple hours, and yes, you can comment on it. So if you have a question that after you've read it or as you're reading it, and you have a question, just there's a comment thing below, and feel free to comment. Unless you're controlled opposition, then forget it. So anyway, God bless each one of you. Thank you for your interest. I hope this clarifies the whole environmental landscape that we're looking at so that we really can make wise decisions and understand who's doing what. Now, but realize that this is a very fluid situation and that things can change at a moment's notice. I guess before I close, I gotta insert this. You need to understand that. So there was a wildfire that I was near in Seeley Lake, Montana, and I tried to get information. And of course, having worked for the government, I knew how to get information. And they just were not, but there was a lot of strangeness. There was high strangeness, just like this LA fires. And I could tell you stories. Maybe sometime we could have a story time on that one. But what I found out and I did an article on it, very detailed about it. And oh, that's another thing. Oh, I got to tell you this too. Sorry. So it was the first operation that they put or AI in charge of the operation. So AI instead of an incident commander, there was an incident commander, but AI was calling the shots. And I tell you, I could not get that article up I tried everything. It was just like a strobe light. It would appear on my computer, it would disappear, appear, and disappear. And then I couldn't get it out to the people that carry the news that I report on. So just realize that AI is a big factor in this whole LA fires and any event that's going on across the United States, but specifically with the fires, because having gone through that, it triggered my memory of this. It's not just the smoke that you have to be concerned about. It's not just the technology. There are gases that they've been putting into the air, artificial, synthetic, some really nasty gases in the air. There are also, they are spraying for invasive species at both the county, state, and federal level. And those insecticides, when they incinerate, go up and they do untold damage to the human body. So there are many things. Somebody mentioned dioxin earlier. There's many different chemicals. Just think of the household chemicals that went up in flames in that smoke. It is extremely dangerous. I would get those little masks that they're showing you on the news are a joke. If you're very serious about your health, either get out of the area or get a heavy duty respirator type mask. That I would even get one with oxygen myself, because even the 9/11 firefighters, many died from cancer, and you don't want that down the road. As a matter of fact, they started a 5-year survey of all the people that were exposed to the 3 months of smoke in Seeley Lake, and I was among them, but I did not participate in it, to see what happened to their health as a result. So, and actually, before David was killed, there was a wildfire, and we actually caught them spraying for invasive species. The government was doing this under the cover of wildfire operations. So I just want you to be careful out there. So God bless. I hope I didn't overwhelm you. Like I said, check out the article, ask any questions, and thank you for your interest. Have a blessed day. Talk to you later. Bye.